You want to know how your member of Congress, who they're owned by? Just look at how they vote. This week, Representatives Kurt Schrader of Oregon, Scott Peters of California, Kathleen Rice of New York, and on another committee, Stephanie Murphy of Florida, all voted to sabotage Joe Biden's $3.5 trillion, Build Back America Better plan. And the specific sabotage that they voted for, or voted against rather, was to allow Medicare to negotiate prescription drug prices. Right now, Medicare gives Big Pharma, gives the big drug companies about $60 billion a year more than they would have to if they were able to negotiate drug prices the way that, for example, the Veterans Administration does. But the law specifically says, this was a law that was passed as part of George W. Bush's 2003 Medicare reform. It also brought us the wonders of Medicare Advantage. The law specifically says, Medicare, you may not negotiate prices. Yes, you're going to buy millions and millions of pills, but you have to pay full retail as if you were buying them one at a time at the local pharmacy. Now, why would that be? Can you spell big money from pharma? It is literally the most powerful lobby in Washington, D.C. right now. They have eclipsed the tobacco industry and the fossil fuel industry for a number of years. And by the way, this is not just about pharmaceuticals. That part that got voted down by these representatives was a key, piece of President Biden's new Build Back Better plan. As the headline in the Oregonian noted yesterday, and I tweeted this out, in fact, the Oregonian story, quote, Representative Kurt Schrader of Oregon helps kill drug pricing bill endangering Biden infrastructure plan. And I don't think that Schrader and his buddies did this because all the seniors that voted them into office are saying, please don't let Medicare negotiate drug prices. For example, this is a poll that came out last week. 87% of voters over 65 favor allowing Medicare to negotiate drug prices. Among Democratic seniors, it's 89%. Among Republican seniors, it's 87%. And among independent seniors, it's 81%. Independent typically being the name for people who are not paying attention to the news. Instead, these Democrats, these four Democrats, are enthusiastically and publicly representing the interests of the pharmaceutical industry. And Bernie Sanders, day before yesterday, came out and said this. It's a press release you can find over at his website, sanders.senate.gov. The pharmaceutical industry has spent over $4.5 billion on lobbying and campaign contributions over the past 20 years and has hired some 1,200 lobbyists to get Congress to do its bidding. Mark Pocan on this program almost every week points out that, he doesn't invite lobbyists into his office. He says there's 3 lobbyists for every single member of Congress just from Big Pharma. But he has no idea who the 3 assigned to him are because he won't meet with them. But you can't say that of these Democrats, sadly, of Schrader, Peters, Rice, and Murphy. They're just dancing to the tune. Big Pharma says jump, they say how high. Americans pay an average of $1,500 a year. This is across every American, right? Which includes like 10-year-olds, right? So, it's when you look at people who are really, using pharmaceuticals, older people, it's even higher than this. But Americans pay on average $1,500 a year more for prescription drugs than the citizens of any other nation on earth. Dr. Nikki Matani, a resident physician at Johns Hopkins Hospital, writes about this patient that she had, came into the ER with chest pain and died. And this patient just a month earlier had gone into an ER with chest pain. They had performed a catheterization, I believe the process is called, and gave her a prescription for heart medication and said, you're going to be just fine, just take these pills. This will solve your problem. Well, this is what Dr. Matani writes. In this patient's case, there was no truer underlying cause of death than the blatant unaffordability of her prescription medications. On arrival to her pharmacy, she learned that despite being insured, one of her heart medications would cost over $200 a month. Though she had $200 in her bank account, she also had 8 grandchildren to care for and feed. She figured she could skip a few days of medication and fill the prescription 2 days later when she was due to receive her Social Security check. But 2 days without these expensive medications was enough to cause her to have a second heart attack, one that would ultimately take her life and drastically change the lives of her 8 grandchildren, some of whom would later enter the foster care system. 2.3 million American seniors and 15.5 million Americans under 65 last year couldn't afford to pay for doctor-prescribed medications. 1 in 4 Americans say they have difficulty paying for pharmaceuticals. 1 in 8 ration their own pills. So, and then I wrap this up by pointing out, it's easy to dismiss Representatives Schrader, Peters, Rice, and Murphy as corrupt sellouts, and of course the label fits. And it's frankly surprising that there weren't more who raised their hand, but I think Pharma said, okay, all we need is 4 votes here to kill this thing, and so we're just going to concentrate on these people. And you've seen these dueling ads between AARP and Pharma, about whether we should negotiate drug prices. Well, that debate is over now, it appears. We'll see. We'll see. Biden is saying he's going to bring this back. He's going to make this happen. But all of this goes back to money in politics. And money in politics goes back to this 2010 Supreme Court decision, Citizens United. It was a 5-4 decision. 5 Republican appointees on the court said, hey, money is the same thing as free speech, and corporations are the same thing as people. The 4 Democratic appointees on the Supreme Court, that was 5 Republican appointees. The 4 Democratic appointees on the court said, no. This is what John Paul Stevens said. He wrote the dissent. He said, the fact that corporations are different from human beings might seem to need no elaboration, except that the majority opinion almost completely ignores it. Corporations have no conscience, no beliefs, no feelings, no thoughts, no desires. They are not themselves members of we the people, by whom and for whom our Constitution was established. Said 4 members of the Supreme Court. Today it would be 3. But, the majority were right-wingers. And so, hey, corporations are people. Money is speech. He went on to say in his dissent in Citizens United, as if he were looking at today's politics, right? Why are we so divided? This is why. He wrote, politicians who fear that a certain corporation can make or break their re-election chances may be cowed into silence about that corporation. On a variety of levels, unregulated corporate electioneering might diminish the ability of citizens to hold officials accountable to the people and disserve the goal of a public debate that is uninhibited, robust, and wide open. This is a problem across our political system, and it's why our politics are more polarized than they ever have been in our lifetimes. And it's because the Supreme Court said right-wing libertarian billionaires can pour all the money in that they want. I mean, FreedomWorks and all these other groups that are supported by these right-wing billionaires, they are cranking hard to stop Biden's plan. And they're able to buy out a few Democrats, too.